Hi, I'm Amy Stasiewicz, and welcome to The Minutes. Thanks for listening today. It's great to have you along on The Minutes for the week of January 26th. This is the City of Thunder Bay podcast. The Minutes takes a look at what happened at standing committee meetings and city council meetings. You can find The Minutes wherever you get your podcasts, including our YouTube channel and our website, thunderbay.ca/theminutes. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. This past week has been busy to say the least. On January 22nd, the Committee of the Whole met to review the long-range financial plan. They reconvened on Monday and Wednesday to continue discussions on the 2026 operating budget. Tuesday was also packed with back-to-back standing committee meetings, starting with the Quality of Life and followed by the Growth Standing Committee. For the standing committee meetings, the agenda items included an update on the 311 implementation, the Home Energy Improvement Loan Program, the annual Indigenous Relations update, a presentation on the 2025 development highlights, and an overview of the future of the Pool 6 lands. We'll break down the highlights from both standing committee meetings, and later I'll be joined by Danielle Slongo, the city's climate action specialist, to chat about the Home Efficiency Improvement Loan Program. So let's get started. Like all meetings, the night began with a land acknowledgement, and then right into the agenda. The Quality of Life Standing Committee meeting started with a presentation from the Norwest Community Health Centers, providing an update on the Thunder Bay Heart Hub. The Heart Hub is the homeless and addiction recovery treatment location, and they are working hard to keep people in our community safe. Okay, so now on to the reports of administration. The first report provided an update on the implementation of 311. So what exactly is 311? It's a nationally recognized, easy-to-remember number for non-emergency municipal services, something many cities across Canada are already using. The idea is to give residents and businesses one clear point of contact for city services. In Thunder Bay, 311 would be delivered through the city's new centralized customer service division, which is scheduled to launch in December 2026. This division would act as the front door for non-emergency requests, with trained staff handling intake, triage, and follow-up using standardized processes. Overall, 311 will support a more modern, consistent, and accessible way for residents to connect with city services every single day. The Standing Committee endorsed the idea, and it will go to Council for final approval on February 3rd. Next up was a report from the Strategy and Engagement Department on a Home Efficiency Improvement Loan Program. This program focuses on the homes many people in Thunder Bay live in, especially older homes. They are often hard to heat, more cost to run, and create a lot of greenhouse gas pollution. The Home Energy Improvement Loan Program would help homeowners fix these problems by offering low-interest loans for energy upgrades so they can pay back over time instead of struggling with those high upfront costs. The city would manage the program, a credit union would provide the loans, and a third party would help homeowners with advice and applications. The program would focus on older single-family homes and households that have trouble accessing other programs. Within 4 years, it could help about 200 households, save energy, reduce pollution, and support local contractors. It also helps the city reach its net zero goals. In short, this program would help people improve their homes, lower energy bills, reduce pollution, and make neighborhoods stronger, without asking homeowners to do it all on their own. After some brief discussion, the committee endorsed the program and it will go to Council for final approval. Next on the agenda was an annual update on Indigenous relation activities and outcomes in 2025. Each year, the city shares a report to show what's happening with new initiatives and progress on the 7 Youth Inquest recommendations, which are actions aimed at protecting Indigenous youth in our community. From 2020 to 2025, the city has been following the Indigenous Relations and Inclusion Strategy and the Mama Way Growing Together plan. The goal is to build stronger relationships with Indigenous communities and embedding reconciliation into everyday city work. Some highlights from the report show that the city is making real progress in its work with Indigenous communities. Most of the 7 youth inquest recommendations are now fully integrated into how the city operates every single day. Partnerships with Indigenous communities such as the Fort William First Nation and the Thunder Bay District Métis Council continue to grow stronger, supporting meaningful collaboration on projects and initiatives. The Indigenous Advisory Council provides important cultural guidance on city projects and events, helping ensure decisions respect Indigenous traditions and perspectives. The city is also supporting Indigenous cultural events and spaces, including the Indigenous Survivors Day and the Sacred Fire Ceremonial Policy, which help honor history, culture, and community. Looking ahead to 2026, the city will focus on expanding staff training and participation, completing outstanding 7 youth inquesting recommendations, and renewing partnership agreements. All this work is guided by consultation with Indigenous communities, elders, and partners to make sure actions reflect what the community needs. Finally, there was a bylaw report from Thunder Bay Fire Rescue that was endorsed and will need to go to council for final approval. Next up was the Grow Standing Committee meeting. The meeting began with a presentation by Joel DePuter, the Director of Development Services, who shared key highlights from the 2025 development projects. Build Thunder Bay has been making big moves, especially in the last year. Some of the 2025 updates included the opening of the one-stop development shop in July 2025, which offers one location, one counter, one phone number, and one email to make development more efficient. Other highlights included a 64% increase in construction value compared to 2024, which includes over 1,000 building permits and 7,600 inspections. There were 377 new homes permitted, which is up 10% since 2024. Not only have more building permits been issued, but the reviews were completed 47% faster than the provincial standard. Way to go. Finally, the Housing Accelerator Fund resulted in 93 applications and $11.3 million in grants, which supported 602 new units in Thunder Bay. It's amazing to see these projects come to life and to watch our city continue to grow each year. So props to the Build Thunder Bay team. Next was a memo from the administration on the visioning of the Pool 6 lands at the waterfront. If you visited Marina Park or Prince Arthur's Landing, you know how special our waterfront is. And Pool 6 is the next big step in making that area even better. This area used to house the Pool 6 grain elevator, and today it's home to the cruise ship terminal, the Alexander Henry, the future Thunder Bay Art Gallery, and the proposed Science North Center. Pool 6 is a major opportunity to create a vibrant waterfront destination that blends culture, tourism, and recreation. To make that vision a reality, the city has partnered with an architecture and urban design firm that also worked on the 2015 Pool 6 master plan. They're exploring different development scenarios to guide the future of Pool 6. Some potential developments include retail shops, hotels, a convention center, restaurants, a Nordic spa, and more residential units. Pool 6 is planned to become a lively place for all seasons. It will have spaces where people can gather, enjoy nature, and spend time together. The design will reflect Thunder Bay's history, culture, and strong connection to Lake Superior. The plan is based on research, studies, and feedback from the community. This helps make sure the space is safe, easy for everyone to use, and good for the environment, and helpful for the local economy in the long run. Soon, the public will be able to share their ideas online and at an open house. That feedback will help choose the best design. After that, the Pool 6 plan will be approved with 3D images and animations before it goes to City Council as part of the updated waterfront master plan. Pool 6 is becoming an exciting new part of the waterfront. It'll be welcoming, easy to access, and truly reflect Thunder Bay. Your ideas are important, so stay tuned for ways to get involved and share what you think. All right, so that's it for the Quality of Life and Grow Standing Committee meeting updates. Stay tuned next week for the February 3rd City Council meeting highlights. I will soon be joined by today's guest to talk more about the city's home energy improvement loan program. Today we're talking about how Thunder Bay homes can become more energy efficient, more affordable to live in, and more resilient to climate change. The city is proposing a new home energy improvement loan program designed to help homeowners upgrade older houses, lower energy bills, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions, without the upfront costs that often stop people from getting started. We'll break down what the program is about, who it's for, how it would work, and why it matters for Thunder Bay's climate goals and quality of life. I'm here in the Minute studio with Danielle Slongo, the city's climate action specialist, to discuss this program. Hi, Danielle. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, Amy.
Okay, so first off, I think it'd be really helpful. Can you just explain what your role here is at the city, like general?
Yeah, 100%. So I drive what's called the net zero strategy. So our overall climate targets and things like that, I'm keeping us on track, essentially. We do have a climate adaptation coordinator as well, but I deal more with mitigation. So that's looking at long-term, so our 2050 and beyond targets.
Okay, and can you just kind of explain what net zero strategy is for people who might not know what that means?
Yeah, so it's a pathway to get us from the greenhouse gas burning that we're doing now in things like home heating, in our cars, in commercial buildings and stuff like that, into a future where we're electrifying those processes most likely.
Okay, so that's what your work, that's your key goal.
A city transition, pretty much. We're in a time almost like what I would call the industrial revolution. We're going through an electric revolution right now. I'm just here to help try to guide like training pathways and ways that everyday residents are going to get from the fossil fuel burning they're doing today to the electrification that we need to see in the next 25 years. In a budget-friendly way, if we can.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, so you've been working on the Home Energy Improvement Loan Program. What exactly is this program, and why is the city creating it?
Okay, so as I said, my goal with driving the net zero strategy is getting people essentially to electrify their lives. So one really big aspect of our annual greenhouse gas inventory is buildings. Buildings in general represent about 30% of our greenhouse gas inventory, and then single family homes and residential dwelling units represent about 20% of that. So we're looking at that number and we're trying to chip away at it. To get to that net zero, to get to zero rather than that 30% of our greenhouse gas inventory that's making up. To get to that point, our housing stock's really old and people need some help to get there. There are provincial and federal programs that help people do that, but we're noticing trends that people aren't accessing these programs. So we were looking at market gaps and saying, what's wrong here? How can we make this easier? Why aren't people accessing this? And the design study is our kind of answer to that. It's a bit of a market outlook, so looking at what people need, what services are in town, what trades maybe need a little bit bolstering, and then also looking at different like financial packages that are out there for people to actually do this work because it's quite expensive.
Right. Yes, anything to do with upgrading your home can be expensive.
And scary, I might add. I think a lot of this is people don't necessarily know where to start. So this program is trying to find a pathway to start people on this journey. It might not take you the whole way, but we can give you way more information and maybe a loan out of it.
Okay, so you were talking about like the older homes, but who is this program meant to help most? I think I kind of already answered that. And who is eligible to apply?
So this program is first and foremost a design study.
Okay.
So we've gone through a feasibility project. Now we're designing the program, and then our next stage is going to be implementation. It's going to take a little bit longer.
Okay. Yeah.
But in the design study outlines a 4-year pilot. So during this pilot, we're going to focus strictly on single-family homes. Also, if you're kind of a building nerd like me, anything that's a Part 9 low-rise, so less than 3 stories, a single dwelling unit. Within that group, we're going to focus more of our outreach on some larger vulnerable groups. So that's seniors, single-parent households, and then like our urban Indigenous population. But the program will be in no means limited to those people. And the program might not even fit those people the best. So a very large component of this program is going to be what we're calling an energy coach, which is essentially like a social worker or a connector between programs. You're going to come to the energy coach first, say, I heard about this program that you can help me. That energy coach is going to say, hey, do you own a single family home? Yes. Okay, cool. You might be eligible for this, but let's explore all these options.
Okay. And where would the energy coach, who do they work for?
That's a great question.
Right. Okay.
So the design study outlines what we're calling a third-party delivery model.
Okay.
So there's 3 actors in this situation. There's the city that would lead the project. There's a financial partner who would back the loan and distribute the loan portion of this project. And then there's a program administrator. The energy coach would fall under the program administrator. And the program administrator would essentially be in charge of running any frontline homeowner-facing activities. That would most likely be someone like EcoSuperior. They have provided us a letter of intent for some funding that we've applied for implementation. So you would go to a person that works at EcoSuperior, say, hey, I heard that my house is a leaky energy sieve. How can I stop that? And then you'd go from there.
Okay. This makes sense. Okay. So we're talking about these upgrades. What kinds of home upgrades are we talking about, though? So, like, what would people get done to their homes?
So we're looking at some really high impact things to start with. So I've kind of mentioned it before. The majority, and by the majority I'm saying 97% of the single family homes in Thunder Bay are heated using a natural gas burning furnace. So this program would help you switch to a heat pump. On that train of like HVAC system and like mechanical system sort of things, it would also let you change your gas water heater to an electric on-demand hot water heater. And then we're also going to be looking at building envelope upgrades. So things like more insulation. Most of the houses, including mine in Thunder Bay, were built about 100 years ago.
Right.
Before insulation as we know it existed. So re-insulating those pieces, looking at different pieces like windows and doors that can be upgraded, roofs, anywhere that heat can get out is essentially up for grabs in that building envelope portion. And then we also have some smaller pockets. It's going to have to account, I think it's 30% for resiliency and 10% for like additional face value things.
Yep.
So resiliency, we're going to look at water conservation measures, so low flow toilets and stuff like that. And then also things like battery backup storage in case there is a mass power outage event and you can't run any of the now electric systems in your house. And then we're also going to be looking at qualifying measures is what we're calling them. So if you're electrifying your heating HVAC systems, you might need to upgrade your electrical panel too. So it's saving money for that. And then cosmetic things, if you have to rip some drywall out to put up your insulation, it'll also cover the drywall that you need to put back up.
Right.
That's not the entire intent of the program. The intent of the program is to get those energy saving opportunities in. So you're not just going to be able to use this as a construction loan, but it'll be there enough, hopefully, for what you need.
Right. What are some of the main benefits for these homeowners? Say, they get through the process and they want to make their homes more efficient, but what's more than that?
So as it stands right now, accessing provincial and federal programs, you need something called an energy audit done on your home. So a pre and post audit to say, hey, the energy's changed. That'll be the same for this program. The issue is each audit is $600. So that's $1,200 right off the bat to just participate in these programs. And there's not really many energy advisors in town. There's not many that are accredited in the way that the province wants them to be in order to do these. So this program, as it's written right now, A, will pay for those energy audits, and B, will help bolster more kind of workforce development to get more auditors that exist in Thunder Bay so you can access this free money and like break down those barriers. The other piece, like I said, is that energy coach. Right now, I'm kind of the only resource running city facing. If you talk to the folks at Eco Superior, if you talk to me, we're definitely going to be able to give you the information that you need. There's several other organizations in town that probably could. Eco Superior is just kind of the most out there, face, ready to go. But this is going to put all of that information of how to access things in a centralized location. It's also going to help through the energy coach portion of it. Folks that maybe have some issues doing paperwork. It's a lot of paperwork to do these things. It's really hard. That's an obvious barrier. Literacy rates across the Northwest are lower than other places in the country and the province.
Right.
So breaking down those sort of systemic barriers is really important for us. And then connecting folks that aren't necessarily, like, for all intents and purposes, this is going to be a very, like, middle class, keeping housing the housing stock as it is. We're not losing any more housing stock. But for those lower income folks that qualify for any sort of construction program, we can get you this for free rather than having to go through all this loan process. And we can help you maybe start on the paperwork and things like that, or point you in the right direction of someone who can. From the financing perspective, it's also hopefully going to be really nice when we get all these contract negotiations figured out, because it'll give you longer amortization periods, and we're hoping for lower interest rates as well, or at least something that's prime. And then we're also looking at something called an unsecured loan. So the issue with a lot of accessing these sort of construction loans generally is you need like a large piece of collateral to hold it against. So someone that doesn't have a lot of equity in their home or doesn't have the best credit overall will be accepted or more likely to be accepted into this program.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't really think about that.
And this is also actually a big reason why we decided to go with a third-party model. So like I was saying, that a financial partner, a program administrator, and the city going into this together, rather than the city running something called a PACE program. So PACE programs are more common across Canada. It's been like really the way that most other municipalities are doing it. But the issue is that is a lien on your property. When you're doing that, it's a lot of work in the background for our finance department, but also not necessarily the best for the homeowner, because you're not going to be able to take out as large of a loan just because of our property values, because it would be based on that.
Right.
Yeah. So this gives more flexibility, really, for the person taking out the loan, and like more financial muscle.
Right.
Because a lot of these projects are expensive. There's no way to sugarcoat it or get around it. And even more expensive than our kind of Southern Ontario contemporaries, just because it's so hard to get trained people to get the work done.
Right. And okay, so say I'm a homeowner. Well, like say I want to get into this program. And I hate to say that, but what's in it for me? Do I save money on my energy bills? Like, obviously, you're helping the environment, but like, will their monthly bills be cheaper?
I'm hoping.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least they'll be streamlined. So it'll take definitely off of your natural gas bills. It depends on really the work that you're doing. I can't guarantee you money savings because I can't predict like how much electricity and stuff is going to cost and natural gas moving into the future. But if we can equate energy savings to cost savings, which most of the time we can, it will be cheaper than keeping your house status quo. It will also add to your property value by doing this sort of work, these updates. In that case, we're thinking that it'll actually be really beneficial to seniors, people that are looking at aging in place and things like that, to up that resale. And then also just overall comfort. If your house is leaking heat and energy, it probably is also kind of cold and drafty and uncomfortable. So it's making sure that our housing stock stays good. As we're building, we're pushing for growth and things like that. We're not losing houses in downtown cores. A lot of the older houses are situated in our like urban growth area, and we want to keep it that way.
Okay, so that's a wrap. Thanks for the updates, Danielle, and for making time to chat with me today.
Oh, thanks for having me in.
That's it for this week's episode of The Minutes. A big thank you to Danielle Slongo, the city's climate action specialist, for joining us today. If you want more information about City Council, agendas, or minutes, visit thunderbay.ca/council. You can catch the minutes every week wherever you get your podcasts, on our YouTube channel, or on our website at thunderbay.ca/theminutes. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. I'm Amy. Thanks again for listening to this week's episode of The Minutes. Have a great week.